Hello, boys and girls. This is Jason, Outcast Haven. Once upon a time, there was a group of guys that would go on Facebook and say, please have tournaments. They were frowned upon, teased, ridiculed, and now Skirmish is the biggest thing in Fab and is amazing. Outcast Haven, episode 32 starts now.
I like that you committed to it.
So,
yeah,
welcome everybody. I sorry to attack you verbally in with the finger points, but I don't know. I just jab it. And skirmishes are amazing right now. I mean, they're all the talk. Everybody waits patiently for the release from Fab TCG week 5. Am I going to get a prize? Who is a top deck list? Who did amazing? It's like it's almost waiting for that next spoiler as we wait for the next spoiler, or the first spoiler, essentially.
Yeah, I think it's so. Just to like caveat of what you said is like I don't think it didn't bother me so much that like people seemed indifferent about like the tournaments and stuff. It was more like we were getting ridiculed for, not ridiculed, but we were getting backlash from proposing that LSS was doing anything wrong, which I don't think that they're doing anything wrong, but we're asking, we're like, hey, some sort of online tournament, like please do webcam, please do something, because other card games are. And like the fact that there was a bunch of LSS fanboys, which we are too, we love them dearly, like they're an amazing company, that they were like, what are you talking about? Like LSS could do no wrong. And we're like, no, that's all we're saying. We're saying that it'd be great if they could do this stuff that other companies are doing because people would be amped about it. And lo and behold, everyone is amped about it, which is fantastic. That's what we wanted. And I've got no complaints. So just a little caveat off of your...
This is the last thing of making fun of people. But today I was thinking about this. I want to go back because I got attacked a couple times. Like, nobody's going to do that. You need to be patient. We'll all play in person soon. I just want to go back in the Facebook comments, find that and be like, oof, that didn't age so well now, did it?
Yeah.
So badly. But that's petty of me. It's not like I just brought this up on our podcast to start with. You know, I'm not being petty.
Thank God you're not petty. Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about skirmishes, right? So while we're on the subject of skirmish, guys, I'm going to do a little fancy editing on my Discord screen right now because I need everybody's help. I'm not big on the whole giveaway, get free stuff, blah, blah, blah. But I want to issue a challenge to our listeners. And I haven't totally figured out, and if people have ideas, that would be great. But when I ordered my fry the eggs for my personal cards, she was awesome and sent me some free ones. She said, if you want to give these away, go for it. If you want to keep them, keep them. So, of course, I just wanted to keep them. No, I'm kidding. I want to give them away. So, is this upside down or right side up?
It's upside down.
Upside down.
This is awesome. I just noticed this today. I've had these for a couple weeks. This is a Dash full art, alt art. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for shaking your head. You're wishing me along there as I was trying to spit it out. I noticed on the back, she did both sides. So this card's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That's super
alt
cool.
Art of young and old Dash. And then, of course, you have to...
My
like
pistol
that,
whip,
right?
people.
Yeah.
Nope, you were right the first time.
Was I?
There you go.
You need to have your pistol. So I want to give these away, but you're going to have to beat me in a game of Fab skirmish style to get these. That is for sure one of the ways. And I think if we have enough people, you're going to have to beat me twice because we're going to have somebody, which might not be a challenge, but I'm going to play Wizard and you're just going to bring a deck. Or maybe I'll roll for decks, but I want something fun just to give these away. You don't have to be a subscriber, nothing corny. I just want to give these away because they're awesome. So come play against me, and we'll figure out the details here in the next week or so. So
Yeah.
that's all I got to say.
How about we set up a date where we just all like, oh, dude, Tuesday night live stream. We like just have a gauntlet, and they have to beat one of the three of us.
Yeah, we could do like a random.
No, well, because there's gonna be too many people coming on, so it's got to be. We have to figure out a way to have multiple people that can come on and play. It's got to be a little bit of a challenge. Or you're saying they have to beat all three of us, so they have to run through the gauntlet?
No, they just have to beat one of the three of us.
No, I like your idea first that you accidentally made there. They have to beat all three of us.
No, man, it's going to take forever.
Gauntlet. No, it's a gauntlet. I like that. I'm sticking with it. Dan, it's a beautiful idea.
No, we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something and put something out on like our live stream, or maybe we'll talk about it, put it out to
We'll share something
out to the viewers there, or the listeners. Now that we got the podcast up and running again on all of the, figured out my RSS feed, or our RSS feed, and why that was not picking up what I was putting out, but we're good. We're all set, and that should be coming out weekly now again. So yeah, we'll figure something out. I like that though.
So yeah, so that was that for those, and then back to skirmishes. So we're in week 5 officially of the skirmish season. So I know in the big one at the Lucky Games one, Kano got it, which is awesome. Personally, we'll go through our results. I started 3-0, then dropped 3 straight to Dorinthia. Every one of them was super close. Made little simple mistake in my last game by getting way, way too greedy in the first turn. Other than that, it was an awesome tournament. I lost to the first 2 seeds in my 4th and 5th match. I played Davis, who was in the finals. He came after me. I'd set up for my stir forked in hand, and I did not pull 1 blue card to finish him off. And I was upset with myself that with my new deck build, I couldn't get it. So that was my tournament. Ton of fun. Was super happy to see a Kano top it.
Yeah, no, that was fun. And I know, Blake, you tried something new and interesting. You went Kano too. Copycat and Jason.
I did, yeah. I went Kano. I went I guess technically 2 and 4 because I tied it, believe it or not, with Kano. I went to time. I played a guy with Bravo who I think set a record for the most life gain ever done in a blitz game. I was just, every time he just kept playing more life gain, I was like, oh my god. So he had both blessings. He had red blessing, blue blessing, sigil, and he ran the sun kiss. So I think at the end I think he gained 15 life. So we basically just stumbled to the end with him on like 4 life, and I couldn't find it because I had done 31 damage. So there's only so much damage a deck can do in blitz. And I just, every time I would get him within lethal, he would do something and gain life. That was brutal. I had one game where I thought I had that moment. I hadn't practiced the OTK setup at all, but I realized I had a game where I felt like OTK was the way to go. So I thought I had perfectly pitched. I put my stir in my arsenal. I thought I had it mathed out exactly where my forked was. I pitched a Kano, had all the resources in hand, looked at the top card, and it was a blue. And I was absolutely distraught because I ended up having to block out the turn. I drew up my next hand, and my forked was the next card. So so that was pretty painful because I think I probably just got spooked off of the fact that maybe I missed it by a cycle or a couple cards. And had I just pitched another blue, I still had 2 more blues in hand. I could have paid for stirred forked. I wouldn't have been able to double buff it, but I probably could have won. I just it kind of like, once I didn't see it, I kind of panicked and thought like, if it's not the next card, then I definitely die.
Count that stuff, man. Right. You gotta count that.
Yeah. I did. I was doing so good. Like I had the number of turns all figured out. I was counting my deck. Like I watched Jason do it a bunch. I hadn't practiced it, and I think that was the. Yeah. I made probably a poor tactical decision in the moment to be like, yeah. I mean, OTK is basically like the most complicated way to play this game, like OTK Wizard Stir Forked. But you know what? I think I can do it on the fly.
No practice. Let's just jump into it.
And I won't
Just
pat
get
myself on the
into
back, but I will say first try, I missed by one card. So that was pretty impressive, even though I took the L. So, but
Yeah.
overall it was a well-run tournament. And, you know,
Be
I
impressive
think,
if you won.
yeah, I mean, it would have been more impressive, but I think Lucky posted in the Discord that of the top 8 decks, there were 6 different decks represented, which was really cool. That was actually my favorite thing to see about the whole thing. Since I didn't win it, that's the thing I liked most about it.
Yeah. I ran Benji, which I'm still in love with. Like, I'm still playing. Like, as long as Wizard's not like the meta, I'll probably keep going with Benji. But I went 3-3. I beat the Benji mirror, played the first Benji mirror of my life, and I think that I've been on it for long enough that I knew like save armor blocks for late game. Like lots of like the tricks that I try to like get other people with, I knew what his trick was going to be, so I was able to just kind of outplay there. Beat the Benji, beat a Dorinthia, beat an Ira and beat a Kasai. Ira matchup still feels pretty good if you can dance late game life with them. Like being able to just finish them with the unblockable feels really, really solid if you can save them Breeze Rider boots for late. I think actually next game into Ira, I think I'm actually going to go Arcanite just for the additional block, just because Benji needs that help starting at 17. What else? I lost to two Dorinthias and a Kano. Kano is just a terrible matchup. That's what I opened with, actually. Was my first game was a loss to Kano, and I was like, well, here we go. This is a good start. But
that I think that was the most frustrating thing for me in this is the 3 matchups that I won were my hardest matchups. I beat I beat a Dash, I beat an Ira, and I beat a Bravo. Those are all horrible Wizard matchups. Dorinthia, I'm probably over 500 lifetime easily, probably closer to 60% against Dorinthia, and to lose 3 straight to Dorinthias was horrible.
Yeah,
that's still pretty tight. 60-40 is pretty tight matchup. Like that's card draw.
I will say the third one, he only ran 2 null runes, so I got all excited. I'm like, I'm going nuts. I'm going super aggro on it. I had the perfect opening hand. I got greedy, got him down to 1 card. He had sigil, gained life, only did 2 damage. But I've never played against the chess piece for Dorinthia. I can't even think of the name of it right now.
Blade Hold?
Courage Blade Hold. Yep. And he pumped through was it 11 or 13 damage with 1 card in hand by breaking that, getting the free swings. Guy had no cards left. And so just came at me and then broke the bolters first turn. So it got me to 2 life.
Yep.
But if I was smart, I had 2 blues, a Voltic. One of my blues was unmovable. He passed. I passed then. Don't do any crazy stuff. Like I've said, don't always play in their turn. I hit him for 6 with a Voltic. I have an unmovable and Arsenal, and that's an easy win. So it was 100%.
Yeah.
Not easy because my ability, but just because only going 2 null rune is an easy win for Wizard, and having an unmovable and Arsenal. So I mean, you're getting a free turn. It just makes
weird. We were talking about this a little bit, like how it can be more tilting than misplaying is when your opponent misplays and they get rewarded for it. Like Jason, you and I were kind of talking about this a little bit, where like someone will do something and you're like, wow, that just left me the barn doors open, like let's go. And then like you can't, like you just like you didn't draw right, or like you just missed, like, and you can't take advantage of the fact that they just made this huge faux pas, which is a part of the game too. But it's like when someone beats you because they misplayed and pushed too hard and you can't punish them and then they win, it's like, okay, all right, let's just stick to it. That's even more tilting than
frustrated me, because in the one Dorinthia matchup, like I said, I had stir down, forked in hand, purposely threw a card to empty the reds out of my hand. So I pitched for an Aether Weave, didn't do anything, like I told you, Dane, and then drew up, and they emptied their hand with Dorinthia. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me that I don't get any blues on the easiest win I've had. I mean, it was put right there on a platter. Here's your win. And I couldn't do it.
They just knew they were counting your deck. They're like, oh, he's hitting all those red pitches right now.
It was turn 2.
I was joking. Yeah.
So I mean, but that's, I think those go away with time, and
Mm-hmm.
I revamped the deck a little bit more just for certain matchups. And I mean, most Dorinthias, I think even the finals, they only go 2-3 turns, a Wizard Dorinthia match. So
Yeah.
you just play it right. You know what to block. I mean, once they get something in the arsenal, it makes it tough. So I don't know. I may train myself in Dorinthia and just fire at them first and not let them get that arsenal on turn one so that they're firing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when they go,
It's definitely
because
worth
that
more
arsenal
testing.
kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge into Dorinthia is like, and I think that's some of the game right now too, is still you're seeing a lot of inconsistencies like that. It sounds weird, but what's happening in the game right now is like random inconsistencies in the way that decks are being played creates like this weird effect in the game where you're not always playing optimal builds and you're not always playing into optimal like play lines, and it actually makes it harder. Like it's the classic, it's like a weird effect where it's almost like the rogue deck effect, right? Like in any game you ever play, one of the most challenging things to do is to walk into a tournament and sit down and be seated across from somebody where you look at their deck and you're like, I have absolutely no idea what this deck does. Because then you're like you spend the first couple turns not really playing your own deck, but you're like just trying to leave up the opportunity to not die to some weird combo wombo thing that you've never seen before.
Right.
And I think what's happening right now is there's almost this weird effect where like sometimes you play somebody and they do something and it like actually throws you because you're like, what you're doing is wrong. Like you're absolutely doing the wrong thing right now. And as a result, the preparation in your head that you set up or the thing you arsenaled or the thing you set up, and it like doesn't allow you to like play it. Like
Yeah.
I played one match where I arsenaled a blazing into Bravo because I thought at some point, right, I'll be able to kind of like double stun him with just like maybe like 4 or 5 damage. Like I'll push a little through and I'll go like wide with Kano, and then he just constantly was like pitching 4 and gaining life, and I was never able to push more than 1 or 2 through. So then like the blazing became like this dead card in my arsenal, and normally like you can pop that off to just help push a little damage through when someone's trying to be greedy with their hand. And it's like even good players know like to win you have to set up a turn where you just like beat somebody down with like a dominated Bravo swing. So that's the idea, is like you stay at 20 or higher, so at some point you can take 6 or 7 and then be able to hit them back for like a dominated 15, like something crazy. And like the fact that he was never willing to take like any damage, I was just like, I actually do have a dead card in my arsenal that in any other matchup there would be a window to play this card, and then I couldn't arsenal something else. So at one point, like I dealt 1 damage. I'm like, I don't even care. Blazing for 1. Like I was like, God, it's gotta go. I have to get rid of it. And it was like that weird play line that I've never like experienced before actually messed with me more than if somebody had just been playing the deck the way that I think the deck is supposed to be built and supposed to be played based on my interactions with other like players who've played the deck a lot, like Aussies or New Zealanders or something. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird thing that's happening in the American meta right now where there's like still a bunch of growth. So like randomly you play somebody who does something and you're just like, I don't even know what's happening right now. And it's actually making this game really hard to play.
Dude,
like
so that 100% is completely captured in Rob's stream today. So it's Thursday right now. Rob streamed playing in the Gamers Cave, like some German Großspielen, I think, spelling when I don't know how to pronounce it, but he was playing against this guy, I think his name was Gino, but he was playing Katsu running Edge of Autumn. And like the guy was playing Ira, and he was playing like a good Ira list. And he was kind of like at the beginning, he was laughing. He's like, "What? You're running Edge of Autumn? What? You're running Heart and Cross Strap and Goliath Gauntlet? What? You're like no armor block except for the mask, like Edge of Autumn with Katsu." And like Rob's like, "Yeah, man, just trying something new," and beat him. And the dude was like laughing through the first like third of the game, like kind of like, "Oh, it's like, oh, Edge, what are you doing, man? You're crazy," and being a good sport, like not being like like condescending or anything, but just like laughing,
Yeah.
like thinking that he's got it. And Rob ended up beating him, and it's just one of those times where it's like he said multiple times, like, "What are you doing? Oh, you're breaking, you Command and Conquered into like the Quicken token into a go again into a second Command and Conquer, popping the Heart and in the Goliath for 8. It's like, what are you doing? But it's just it's rogue decks, man.
Yeah,
it's part of the excitement of the game these days, I think.
No, that was I watched. I didn't watch. I think I watched his Bravo matchup where he won with that, and he almost did the double CC in that one, but Bravo just came out too big with a I think a pummel, and so he had to drop a card, so he couldn't pull it off. But still, once he got tempo back in that game, because he lost tempo and was able to get tempo back with that deck, to get the win. Because at the end, he was just. The Bravo player, all they could do is block. That's all he could do is block.
Yeah.
And just finally got that one extra over the top. And I thought he was getting on the razor. He had the big razor. And Rob's like, let's go. We're going for it. You know, Rob gets all excited. He knows, let's go. Looking at the camera, pointing at us. And then he threw out an unmovable. And Rob's demeanor just went, son of a bitch. You could just see it, like, but then he got him like a couple turns later with something similar.
No, but
that was fun to watch.
I think it just speaks to like that the rogue deck theme that we got going on right now is you get a bunch of like random play styles that are like they're not fine-tuned yet, so you're getting caught off guard by stuff that you know, we've been, for people that have been like monitoring the competitive meta that's been happening in like New Zealand, Australia, like even watching like deck lists coming out of like Taiwan, or you know, like it's weird to see like these totally like off the wall decks and knowing how to react to them all the time, because it's like, God, I think he only run the 2 sigils. Like I lost one of my Benji. Yeah, so this is a good tie-in. I lost one of my Benji matchups because the dude blue sigiled me. I was like, what? Like I literally counted. Like I was like, okay, I know he burned through his sigils. I know, and I go for the unblockable, and he blue sigiled me, and I was like, how many of those are you running? Like 2 or just the one? Like what? So it's just
what? So what's your deck do? Well, it doesn't die, but how does it win? No, it doesn't. I literally every tournament my intent was to tie, and then somebody told me that you can't tie in Fab. So now I think I'm just gonna go 006. You're like, yeah, that's a.
No, that was one of those moments where I was like, are you kidding me? You blue sigil me? That was my first. That was a Kasai loss, I think. Yeah, he was running. Yeah, it was craziness happening right now, but it's super fun. It makes for a super fun like.
Yeah. I mean, it challenges you as a player to like think of things that maybe you wouldn't normally think of, or like you get stuck in these like weird windows where you're like, okay, I think I would know what's going to happen next, but honestly, I don't know. Like I lost an Ira game because the guy was running Vest of the First Fist. I was like, wait, what? I was like, you got Vest, in my brain like registered it as Heart and Cross Strap. So I thought he was going to like pop it to break the chain to do something else. And then he played I let something leak through like 1 or 2 damage, and then he broke it for 2 and then flying kicked me. And because it was like and I was like, oh, I forgot that Vest doesn't break the chain, so it's still the third. And my brain just like didn't register those things because it's like you just never see people play Vest of the First Fist. So I thought it was Heart and Cross Strap. I was like registering it as Heart and Cross Strap in my brain. And then when he didn't break the chain, he goes like flying kick for 7. I was like, for 5, right? And he goes, no, because I don't break the chain. And I was like, wait, what were you playing? It's like just like caught off guard by like a thing I don't see.
Yep. Vest of the First Fist, super fun, and boost dash, by the way. If you're running the shotgun dash, Vest of the First Fist.
It's good in that.
That was one of our listeners on the live stream was like, dude, try Vest. And I was like, I did. I'm in love in certain matchups for sure. But yeah. Not indoor. You need the armor block.
Staying on the skirmish. So this is another like weird phenomenon that's happening. So if you go to the XP leaderboards and look at globally, the New Zealanders are sliding down because they're on the wrong side of the world to join all these skirmishes. So for them to start getting these 6, I mean, the fact that they put 6 XPs for each one of these skirmish events,
Yeah.
they can't make as many because the game stores in the US are filling out and people are just pounding the skirmishes, getting 6 points per win. I mean, I jumped up in top 50 in US from the last skirmish because of all the points you get for one win, which
Yeah.
they wouldn't have done that and just left at the same level as the armories. But at the same time, we got what we wanted.
I think it's
We have
just
anticipation. People are really engaged to playing the game. So it's cool. It's just a funny phenomenon for how many the XP leaderboard stayed the same, but we know the rated ELO, which as soon as we have callings, I'll be curious to see where everything starts to level off once we go to that rating on the big tournaments. Because right now, Jacob's number one, who we did an interview with a couple weeks ago, did an interview with
check that out
with Elsis, and yeah, he's top. I mean, he just won the latest huge event of 160 players. So I would still rank him, even though his XP's not there. I think he's got to be rated number one. He's had the best big win lately. We know a couple of the U.S. people or North America people have played New Zealanders, and the New Zealanders still kind of wreck them pretty good. So I still think New Zealand's still the top cats right now. I mean, regardless if who's got XP points, I still think they're the top dogs. I mean,
they've been on
challenge
the game.
them if you're a top guy, challenge one of them because they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think that they just have been playing the game for a significantly longer amount of time, which I think it's smart of LSS to like kind of give us this like little claim to fame. It's like, hey, we're gonna boost the XP on this. We like US, like North America in general, like is gonna have a lot more opportunity to play in these. We're gonna let you catch up a little bit, like feel important, like feel good about yourselves. Because like if we just like straight up did like New Zealand versus United States right now, you guys would just all get your shit kicked in, and it would you guys would feel bad. Like, no, I don't know what they're doing or what they're thinking, but like it is kind of nice that they're giving us the opportunity to like catch up a little bit and not feel like we're just permanently behind New Zealand.
I just wish they would have started this a month earlier because it's starting to get warm here in Minnesota, and it's really hard to come inside and sit at a computer when you're getting the 60s and the 70s starting to get predicting. It's like, oh, come on, I want to go outside. I'm gonna have to get the setup outside on the deck to play these.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens too. And like obviously you're starting to see more things open, more stores are starting to do locals. I'm curious like what they will do as this evolves and things start to open up more, like how the skirmishes will adjust, if they'll continue to do some sort of webcam based thing. I know like one of the things that people pointed out, and I'd be curious what you guys think about this, and even like everybody listening or watching, like get people's thoughts on this, is I know one of the things that some of the Dragon Ball community has pointed out for Dragon Ball Super is that webcam has allowed some players who play in places that don't yet have established communities or have had their communities, like obviously that game's been around, so their communities have like kind of fizzled and there's only a couple players. Webcam events have allowed them to play in competitive events and in events that they feel like they're able to play more people and play competitive events. With Fab being a newer game and having communities still taking time, I think in Minneapolis, like sometimes we can take for granted the fact that it just every game, every TCG has a community where we live. And I know that a lot of places aren't like that. So do you think that Fab, like LSS, should continue even as stores start to open up until it seems like there are established communities in enough places or the player base is getting enough armories? You think they should keep hosting these like webcam skirmishes?
I think so. So I actually think, I was thinking about this the other day, like I think that this might actually be like a business practice for like the TCG model when new games come out, like going forward when it's upstarting. Like I think that having like a robust like online OP system in place allows for faster growth of the game. It allows for more people to get engaged. You just catch it. Like think about back when we very first discovered Fab, Jason. Like I remember I watched Team Covenant's first like review on it like early 2020, like January, and then they announced, like the TC announced that they're going to be carrying the product in February or March or something like that, and you reached back out, and I was like, oh, dude, yeah, I remember hearing about that game. Looked into it. Imagine if they would have, just the two of us, if we would have had the opportunity to like grab some decks and play online, just against like the other handful of people that had heard about it, you know, talk about it, see how fun it was, spread that. Like that enables immediate growth of the game almost. So I think that having that with newer companies, like that might just be standard going forward, at least until the OP and like locals and stuff get up and running.
So 2 things on it. One, I think from a new game perspective, developers need to recognize Discord as an absolute tool, and maybe even make the Discord when the game comes out and put it on your package. Here's a scan this to go to the Discord to find a match.
Yeah.
So number 1, I think that's an amazing idea for that. 2, once you're playing in person, your draws for big tournaments, I think, are going to dissipate a lot, because you're only going to grab the people that are in little tiny communities that don't have an established place to play. So your numbers are going to fall. Because me personally, if on Saturday when we played Lucky Game Skirmish, if there was a local armory, I would have been at the local armory playing in person and not playing for Prestige Worldwide, Boats and Hoes. I wouldn't be playing for that. Okay. I would be playing in person in real life. So that's me personally. I do love the fact that practicing for games, for us especially, we live at different corners of the city, essentially. At least I'm further now. Dane's a little closer. So if we want to hit 2-3 games before a tournament, it's so much easier now with the webcam. We just set it up and play those. We don't have to meet and drive and set up and spend 2 hours driving. Now that 2 hours is 4 more games. So I think it's opened up that world, and people need to take advantage of that. Your friends, you don't need to go to their house all the time. It's still fun to be on webcam, see them, talk to them. These setups are cheap, and get the games in, grind the games, and get the practice in.
Yep.
Yeah, I think going forward, I hope that people utilize it. I hope that companies utilize it well, even if it's something as simple as just an opportunity for practice. Like to your point, Jason, like if not just people, but like I know like one of the things, like shout out to Lucky Games, that I thought was really cool, like Lucky Gaming did, was, and we never took advantage of it because we practiced so much together, and then it always seemed to fall on a night where like we had something going on. But they actually did a thing where they were hosting an opportunity for people to come just get games and like practicing via Discord. And I know like one of the things that we kind of have taken advantage of in this game that we have never been able to take advantage of because we've been kind of forced to, is playing games with people like from New Zealand and Australia that we've met, and then playing games with people like Rob here in the States now. It's given us an opportunity, because one of the things that if you want to be a competitive player, I think is important, is not to play the same 2 people over and over again. If you play the same person, if your opponent is the same every time, you stop playing against the deck and you start playing against an opponent. Like, you know, certain opponents do certain things. Like Dane can 100% attest to the fact that we have one friend that we play Dragon Ball with, and his style is balls to the wall all day, every day, 100% of the time. And like Robert never takes a second off. And sometimes you can like bait him into losing the game versus actually winning the game yourself, because you just know what he's going to do. And I think people make that mistake sometimes where like they practice really hard with one person, and that's good. But then also like being able to take advantage of like some of the Discords and TTS and all these different things to like play games with people you don't know and get used to playing against, like, number one, like we said, play against suboptimal lines sometimes where somebody does something that makes you step back. Like you're going to get caught by that at tournaments, and it's going to be a real bummer. Like if you win a ton of games at your locals against the 3 or 4 other guys that you play with or people you play with, and then you go to like your first calling and just get smashed because you're like, oh, I don't know how other people play this game. And I think Discord and some of that is a really cool tool for some of that practicing against other people, like just learning some of that stuff.
I have a hot take. Okay. And we've discussed this a little bit. I want your opinion. And
both of us just, okay.
Everybody's going to roast. I shouldn't say that. 50% of people say that is a horrible idea, Jason. Why would you even bring that up? I think this is an amazing idea because it's coming out of my mouth. So of course I'm gonna think it's an amazing idea. And we've talked about this. I want a 5-card sideboard for Skirmish when you reveal the hero.
No,
5 cards. I absolutely do. 100%. I don't think it's pushing decks out of the meta because like aggro dash can handle a lot of decks in the meta, but it can't handle certain decks. If it had a 5-card sideboard, the games would be more competitive. 100% more competitive.
Doesn't help. I think aggro dash is a bad example because what's aggro
because
dash?
you can change aggro. Now dash is mid range, so she goes from aggro to control from 5 cards. 100%. 5 blues, pop them in, go to the pistol over the gun, and now you have control dash in the meta, and it'll shake up. It'll add heroes in there.
I don't
Look at
think 5
Azalea.
cards gives you control dash. You're going just a bunch of boost attacks to.
That's an eighth of the deck.
Yeah.
So here's my take on it is I think that the fact that they changed the end of game procedures is a product of just having more tournament events. That's a change that's fine. Personally, I don't think anything should change in the game. I don't think number of cards in sideboards. I don't think I don't think they should revisit any deck sizes or equipment sideboards, your loadouts. I don't think that I think right now where they're at, they should just leave everything alone until after Monarch has had a chance to get out and people have had a chance to play it. Mainly because they've continued to tell us over and over again, as much as I would love an opportunity to sideboard a couple cards in against certain matchups with some of my decks, I'm not fully convinced that the game doesn't have like a significant shift in power once Monarch comes out, because they've said over and over again that the game will be fully realized in Monarch. So it's possible that while I know for us, a lot of this comes from like just kind of Ira and Dorinthia fatigue, right? And if maybe more than anything, if I can just make one plea to the community, if you're playing in like a skirmish and nothing is on the line but XP, and like it's random pricing, there's no like at the Lucky Gaming thing, you play whatever you want and play the best version. Please, for the love of God, if you're playing a random skirmish event on like a Tuesday afternoon, can you just play a deck? Like, can you please just stop with the Ira and the Dorinthia? Like, I know people love their XP, and maybe this is my hot take for the episode, but guys, XP don't mean shit. Like, I know you think it does, but it doesn't mean anything. Like,
but I want it.
Literally on their website. Literally on the website, it says ELO is the measure of a great fab player. So when that happens, I get that we need a measure of success, but like it doesn't mean anything. So like beating in people's faces who are like, you're having to instruct them how to pitch cards and then just mauling them with like this massively constructed monstrosity that is Ira or Dorinthia. Like, I'm not sure that that's also the best way to grow the community. Like some guys like, I'm going to pitch 3. You're like, no. So you play the card, like you're instructing them on correct orders on revealing and things like that. And you're like, yeah, you're about to die. You're going to die hard and fast, bro.
I think that mistake's even made by the best players that they pitch before they play the card. And that
yeah.
To even Rob, I love you, man, but you have the worst habit of always pitching and then deciding what you want to do. And you can't do that. You have to play your card, then pitch.
Technically, you play pitch.
You have to. Rob, let's go. Change it up.
I'm going to chastise you, Blake, because you are
chastise me.
Notorious for being I play good decks to win because winning is what is fun. So these people that want to win because that's how they have fun, just playing devil's advocate here, that's a bit of hypocrisy. That's a little bit of like
in a big tournament. Like I play absolute trash sometimes at locals. Like,
and
I get
you
my face
come
kicked
back.
in at
You
locals.
come back from those locals like a dog with the tail between its legs, sad.
No,
like,
I just
you were upset. You were upset last week. That you lost. It's like, but it was just locals, Blake. Just play fun decks. Don't worry about winning.
Just to be fair, I played a top tier deck last week and got my head kicked in because I like played into the absolute worst matchups. It was like I was playing the absolute worst deck to play into the field and got absolutely mowed down. So I was bummed because my matchups were absolute. Like I absolutely got like screwed by the fact that I'm like, hey, I'm playing a deck that needs to play to turn 5, and everybody else
They're
was
talking
playing decks.
DBS.
DBS, yeah.
DBS.
Right. Sorry.
Not-
BBS. I was playing like a deck that needed to go to turn 5, and everybody else's decks wanted to win on turn 2. So like the fact that I had no way out of that, and I was just like trapped into this cycle of dying, that was more the thing.
I know that.
Argument.
I know that was a bit of an attack on you, so I'll allow the rebuttal that you just had. But I think more importantly than like, because I also am like a little like I don't. It's like, okay, I got 6 rounds today. Am I gonna face my 4 or my 4 Iras like first, or am I gonna only run into them late, or am I just gonna face 6 Dorinthias, or what's my Ira Dorinthia split gonna be? That's a little bit annoying, but more importantly, like as long as you're not being an ass when you're playing into new players, like if you're explaining stuff to them and you're just like having fun like playing your Ira deck, I think that's probably fine. I don't know.
I'm just
Maybe
I guess
to you, but for the same cycle to keep playing the same decks over and over. So I'm changing. Blake, to his defense, has played almost a different deck in every single tournament that he's ran in Fab. Almost changed it every single time. I give Rob credit because he did switch up his deck to a weird rogue deck today. I would like to see some of the other really good players do the same thing. Throw a rogue deck in there. You don't need to win every tournament because I know, we all know that you're getting wins from very unexperienced players that from the first words that they haven't played that you're going to win the game. You help them and then you beat them, but you help them. And I always teach them what not to do after you're done. So here's what the mistakes you made. Don't do this. Don't do that when you're playing Wizard. But I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
You know what I mean? It just,
Yeah. Last devil's advocate.
The fatigue. And so that coming back to my original point, the 5-card sideboard doesn't need to be a permanent thing with LSS. I think it would be fun to do a tournament with our current, and I'm going to use it again, fatigue of Ira Dorinthia in the United States. Let's do something fun. Somebody do a different tournament. Do something different. Or try Classic Constructed. Like, honest to God, the game's fun. I mean, if you have 2 good players, they're half-hour games, 35-minute games. They don't take a full 50 minutes unless you're a new player. So if you're 2 very good players and you want to do a high-level tournament, do Classic Constructed. Then we get the full sideboard. Then let's have some fun.
Yeah. Last devil's advocate, and then we can move on. But like, if you're that guy, right, and you're teaching the new players this stuff, and like, you know they're not going to, probably not going to win because you're explaining how the pitch works and stuff. In that example, where you're going to win in the end, but you're trying to help them along, what does it matter what you win with? What does it matter if you win with Katsu, Edge of Autumn, or Ira Kadachi? Like, if you're helping them along and then eventually getting the win, what do they care if they're getting their head kicked in with Katsu or head kicked in with Dorinthia?
Have you played
8th Ira that day? So they've learned the same Ira matchup 8 times. So as a new player, you're like, oh, Ira again. Okay, so I'm just gonna lose, but let's do this anyway.
All right, that's fair. That's a good point. I concede.
Yeah. I just my argument for it is very simple. Is like, if you want to prove to me that you're a good player, stop winning with the 2 best decks. But that's fine. Like, it's okay. I'm less impressed by the guys who jump deck to deck from top deck to top deck, and more impressed by the guy who's been playing the random deck that nobody else plays, and he just keeps on winning with it. That impresses me so much. Like, my favorite dude in DBS that plays is a dude who plays a deck that literally nobody else plays. Every time I see it in a top cut, I'm like, it's Butters. It's my boy Butters. Like, man is keeping on playing his deck. I would be so impressed if somebody just if somebody was just constantly like top 2 or 3 in like every skirmish, but the dude was just like rolling with Katsu. Every time he's just rolling up with Katsu. It's like, I may not win, but I guarantee I'm going to go 3-1 every skirmish with my dude Katsu. I'm more impressed with that guy than somebody who 4-0s randomly and 3-1s a bunch with Ira. That's just the way it is. And you know what? You can hate me for that. People can dislike the fact that I like bag on like Ira, but I just think Ira is an easy deck to play. Katsu is more complex. It's got more depth to the deck. And everybody, you can tell me, listen, and here's the reality, right? Everybody can say it, but to Dane's point, he pointed out that in Jacob Pearson's interview, he kind of backhanded shot at Ira when he said, like, I played the deck because I thought it would be the deck that would mentally fatigue me the least.
Yeah, I sent that screenshot.
I'm sorry, but that's Like, that's an insult to the deck. Like, that's just, you said it. You said what you said.
Yeah. No, I think that I thought that was funny. I screenshot it right away and sent it out to the group because I was like, that's kind of funny. That he's like, when you're looking at like a long day, you got to kind of take into account how mentally fatiguing the deck's going to be. And Iroh just mentally fatigued me the least. It's like, cool. Strap that helmet on. Let's go.
That is why, basically, to your point, is I want to get him up there a little bit. This is my goal. This is my guy. The ladies love him. I want to get a couple good wins. I know in our locals, Blake took him to a 3-1. He's good. I think he's great. And I'm telling you this. No, he's not good. He's amazing in a Dorinthia. He straight up will beat Dorinthia piloted correctly. If you block the correct blocks, he'll straight up just beat Dorinthia because he'll fatigue her. She can throw 8 cards. Oh, I'm gonna pitch 2 and block for 10. So I lost 1 to your 4 cards, and I'm gonna still swing my club back for 6. He's good, just not being played right currently. He's being played like I played him. If you go back and look at some of our beginning videos, that is an absolute lesson of how not to play Bravo. So watch what I did and then don't play it like that. Okay. Yeah. Absolute lesson in horrible Bravo play. Everybody thinks he's simple because they don't play him correctly. He's a very good deck, but has to be piloted very well.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I just wanted to wrap up with like decks. So that's my deck. I'm running off Wizard for a little bit. So I'm going to Bravo it out. He's my boy. You're my boy, Bravo. What do you guys, I know Dane is working hard to get the Benji top. We'd love to see Benji top an event. So we're counting on you, Dane. Don't let us down.
Yeah. I'm having so much fun messing with this deck list. Like, I just tried a new iteration tonight into you, went 1-1, but like I think I maybe overcorrected a little bit, took out too much of the heat and in exchange for consistently hitting those, having the blue for the resources. I think I might, dude, I'm throwing together an iteration. Like, Rob totally motivated me today when he ran that Katsu with Edge Autumn, because my first Benji list ever, I was running Talishar because it was just great for like those 2 to 3 turns a game where you don't have much in hand. You had to block out. You just got 1 card left. You just need to apply some sort of pressure, throw something at them. I mean, we'll see. But having a blast with it. I'm going to get there. I haven't lost the mirror. So in my mind, I'm the ultimate Benji player. So come at me, Benji players. All 4 of you. Challenge me.
We are totally going Jordan, Nelson, Fussell on Rob tonight. So we apologize that we're going all Jordan on Rob.
Yeah, we're going to. Oh, we went all Jordan on Jordan last week. So
yeah, we love them all.
Good dudes.
Blake, what are you brewing for these next couple events?
So I think the next 2 events, I've become obsessed with Katsu because I just refuse. Like, I enjoyed some of the lines in Ira, like playing some of the lines, but I have this inherent need to be different. If you can't tell, I'm a very normal guy, but I have it in me to like want to do well, but I want to do well with like something just a little different. Like, I can't just play best deck always. So like I've become obsessed with Katsu because like I enjoy the fact that he's like a more complex Ira. Like, you actually have to rely on the lines and not just throwing like big attacks second or third. You're not just like Kadachi, something gigantic. It's like Katsu is kind of like formulated around this idea of like, okay, like I was so proud of myself playing Jason where I was like, hit on the first one, I have the second piece in hand, I pitch now to go get the final piece in the chain, then I play, and I'm like, I'm so smart, I'm so good at this game, oh my god, look at me. And I just so like the fact that it's more complex. Like, I like decks that have some depth and complexity to them and aren't like A plus B equals C. So Katsu, and then the other thing I've been obsessed with is Reinhardt Claws, because I just love the fact that like you can have turns where you're like, oh, that turn was kind of sad, and then you draw like a barraging, you draw your Blood Rush Bellows, and you're just like, it's time for me to destroy. And you're just like, Blood Rush Bellow, pitch a 6, draw 2 cards, intimidate. You're like, I took all your cards, and now I'm just gonna claw you to death. And it's just like, it's like so satisfying to like completely win on RNG sometimes, because it's like our roots in Destiny is just based in RNG. So sometimes just, it's funny to leave someone with 1 card and then they reveal at the end that you're like, I think I'm not going to win here, but I should get close. And then you find out you left them with just the unmovable. You're just like, yes, I'm so happy that RNG won me that game.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny because the reason that you moved to Katsu is the reason that I moved off Katsu onto Benji, because you don't like A plus B equals C, and Katsu to me was sort of becoming A plus B plus C equals D, because it just goes wide.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like the Benji. Like, he starts with a little less health, but you can like open with like a really crazy turn, like when they don't have anything in arsenal, and just hit them for a bunch, not taking any cards from hand and letting them mulligan effectively. Or late game pitching, like setting yourself up for like those late game unblockables, feels fantastic. Like, I think that I'm going to slowly pull you, because we have similar play styles. We play different decks, but we like similar things. I think that eventually when I do well with Benji, you're going to be like, maybe I could take that and make it better my way. I'll get you, Blake, because I got you to Katsu. Now I'm just going to pull you one step further into Benji.
And I'm going the opposite.
I think my success. Yeah, I think my success in Sealed has also like led me to feel like I owe it to Katsu to visit him in a constructed deck format, because like he's treated me very well in Sealed. Like, so far my record with Katsu in Sealed is 4-0 and 3-1. So like I feel like I owe it to him to like build an actual deck around him.
Yeah, that's exactly why I bought all of Dorinthia's stuff, except for the Crucible pieces, because that's expensive right now. I might still do it if I can sell. If I sell my drone, I'm one of the 2 foil red drones at $750. Just Hail Marying it up. Just like, maybe someone's going to buy it. Only one at 2. I'd buy them. Somebody. If I sell that, I'm just buying Dorinthia pieces.
I still think we should all sign up in the last skirmish event that they have with data dolls and run 3 data dolls.
I'm 100% down for that. That is something that we can do.
I know Blake's been hurt. He's been hurt. I mean, maybe a little more counseling, come back to it.
Bring it back. We're just going to have an internal team competition and see who can do better with the data doll. I'll
just run KO. Like, I'll go out on a limb and run something dumb too. Data dolls hurt me too much. Like,
I would 100% run KO if I had all the equipment for it. If I had the full setup for KO, I love KO. I think it'd just be fun just to go out and
we've all got data doll
and just boom.
I've got KO.
So
I've got all that stuff for KO. So maybe
I'll leave it on this, because at the Lucky Skirmish event, the Battle Brothers, the Attack Action podcast, like put out a challenge to us, and I'm sure you've heard, like, we weren't necessarily running like meta decks, but we love like the challenge thing. We were like, F it, let's do it. Like, challenge accepted, let's go. Like, it's fun to do that type of thing with the community. So hoping to have those guys on, if by chance they're listening. Battle Brothers, hop on, come in, open invite to our live streams on Tuesdays. Would love to jam some games with you guys some more. But appreciate the content creator mingling. That's what I like about like these big tournaments.
On that note, it'll be Sunday or Monday, I'll be on Dice Commandos with Andrew, just doing. I hope my brain goes all over the place when I try to explain Wizard, so I apologize because I do jump around in it, but kind of just doing like a 101, 201, 301 with Wizard in a short time frame. So we kind of pushed it out there. If you have questions, you can ask on here on that. And then Andrew will probably have back on during spoiler season. So we will continue, as Dane said, the content creator crossover, or we call it the Triple C now.
Yeah, he just made that up for sure. Yeah, we'll call it
that up, but I like it. Yeah. We're gonna trademark it.
C cubed. C cubed. Yeah. C cubed, is that better? Or just cubed? We don't even have to put this.
If it's C cubed, then it's just CC. Let's just do that, because C cubed. Yeah. Perfect. Then it's just C squared.
Yeah. If you don't know, Blake's normal. I'm a dumbass. That's just the way it is.
All right.
Super normal.
I'm going to take us out.
Normal.
because I still got editing to do.
Yeah, like wait. Literally take us out or figuratively? Because I feel like you actually want to take us out right now. Like just end us.
Now I do. Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody, appreciate the the viewership and you guys sticking around, hanging out with us. Apologize for last week. We know we went a little heavy on the cursing. There's some comments about the annoying editing sound. So hopefully this week, when you're listening to this, you're thinking at this point, yeah, those sounds were a lot better and not quite so harsh or making my dog's ears ring. So
What the are you talking about?
stop it. There's only been 3, I think. Anyways, appreciate you guys
Only
sticking
3?
with us.
Holy
That's crazy.
Really glad that we had everybody with us tonight. Hope that you have been enjoying the podcast. Love feedback. Leave it in the comments. You can find us on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts. We've got like Stitcher, like basically anywhere except for Pandora because they still haven't gotten back to me. Those bastards. I'm just kidding. They're great. But haven't heard back yet. And Farmers Only still has to reach out. They haven't responded to my email either. So once we get word back from there, we'll be literally everywhere. But check us out there and make sure to hit that like and subscribe so you get notifications when these videos do come out. And when we go live, we got our live streams up and running now smoothly. Got that shared amongst ourselves. So everyone's kind of functioning same wavelength there. So any of us can pop on and live stream at any point. And looking forward to more of these skirmishes, seeing what decks start topping more, see if we can get a little mix up. Maybe Dorinthia, get people find an answer. Bravo comes out in bigger force because I do agree. I think that Bravo plays really well into Dorinthia. But yeah, talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be great. I think that's going to get some laughs at the end there. That was amazing.
You guys.